Hey there, welcome back. Episode 2 of the Firm My Life podcast. Here's what I want to talk to us about today. What to do when you're stuck. I've been stuck a few times in my life, and I'm telling you, it's a hopeless feeling. It's a feeling of despair. It's a feeling of just helplessness. Like, I can't get free under my own power. You know, I thought about a funny story that I wanted to share with you to really relate to the point that I want to make in today's episode. And here it is. I've really mostly always driven Ford vehicles. I don't really know why, and it's really not a big deal, but I like them. And a few years back, my brother, who also drove a Ford pickup, he sold it and he went and bought a Dodge. And ever since then, me and him has just always kind of bickered back and forth on whose truck's better. And I remember, I think it was the first week that he was driving his new Dodge Hemi 5.7 full-wheel drive that he was so proud of. The very first week, he run it out of gas. And now we're talking about in the turn lane, in the middle of the city, main drag, and he's stuck there, running out of gas. And so he calls me, and he's like, hey, man, I need you. Man, I loved it. I drove by him. I was smiling. I was waving. I drove by him again. I think I might have passed him like 3 times, just blowing the horn, making a big deal out of it. And, I finally pull in there, and I'm out taking pictures of him standing in the middle of the highway out of gas. Anyway, I just gave him a good hard time about it. Well, a couple years later, we had a big snowstorm. And I don't know why, but I was out driving around, and I was looking at a piece of property that was at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it had one of them, turnarounds. Pretty nice neighborhood, nice houses all around. But the thing is the snow had come in, and it had kind of thawed out, then it frozen back, and you couldn't really tell what was road and what was ditch. It was all white. And as I was trying to turn around there, I slid off into the ditch. I throw that truck in full-wheel drive, man. I'm trying to get out of that, and I'm rocking it back and forth. And the more effort that I put into it, the more stuck I get. And by this time, the neighbors are coming out of the house, and they're all watching. And so guess what? Yeah, I had to call my brother. But hey, man, I'm stuck. And you can believe that he remembered back when he run out of gas. And so he pulls up and he's laughing. He's blowing the horn. He's taking pictures. But I was glad to see him. Because despite the fact that he had a Dodge and he was pulling me out of the ditch, I really needed help. I really was stuck. And there was nothing that I could do about it to get free. I've been stuck on a bicycle. I've been stuck on a four-wheeler. I've been stuck on a jet ski in the middle of the lake. I've been stuck on a tractor. I've been stuck in a lot of things at a lot of different times. But the worst place that I've ever been stuck is when I was stuck in my own life. And it seemed like everything that I tried, nothing worked. I couldn't get free of the things that I was dealing with. I couldn't get past a certain point in my life. I couldn't seem to overcome. And it was like I was just in a consistent battle of a little bit of progress and then sliding back. A little bit of momentum, and then I'd lose it all. It was a terrible place to live, honestly. It's just a feeling of there's nothing I can do. There's a feeling of helplessness, really, of just loss. So what do you do when you're in that place? How do you get free? What do you do when you're stuck? I want to show you a blueprint, the formula that I found and the formula that I did to overcome those moments in my life. Now, this ain't stuff I learned somewhere. This ain't stuff that I've made up. This is what I did. This is how I got free. And I believe if you'll follow this that I'm about to share with you, you too can get free, can get unstuck of wherever it is that you're at in life. All right? So here it is. Here's the first thing. The first thing that you've got to do when you're in that place in your life is you've got to decide to change. Now, I know that sounds simple, but it's true. You've got to decide, hey, I am tired of where I'm at. I'm tired of being stuck. I'm going to change. Just like when I was in that ditch and I had to pick up the phone, call my brother and say, hey, bring that truck over here. I'm stuck. I decided I was going to be different. And there's a lot of people out there that have what I call a fixed mindset. They don't think that change is possible. They think that where they're at today is where they're always going to be. I've sat and I've heard people tell me that what you're dealing with right now, you're always going to deal with. And that's not true. You can get past things. You can change. You can overcome. You can grow through it. That's called a growth mindset. And that's the mindset that you've got to adopt in your life. Now, if I'm going to go a little deeper with that, it's this. At home, I have a 9-month-old. And, he's crawling all over the house and getting into everything. And now his favorite thing is to stand up on pretty much anything that he can grab. And he'll stand up, say, on the couch. And then he'll start walking down the couch as he's holding on to the side. And he's almost to that age that he's going to begin to learn to try to walk. So how long should my wife and I try to teach him how to walk? How long should my boy, Wesley, 9 months old, how long should he try to learn to walk? Right? That's a dumb question, isn't it? He should try to walk, and we should teach him to walk for as long as it takes for him to learn to walk. Like, it's not an option. Like, if he doesn't learn that skill, like, his life is handicapped. There's so many things that he won't be able to do in his life. It's really a irrelevant question, isn't it? Because we all know we're going to teach him to walk as long as it takes, despite how many times he falls down, how many times he bumps his head or skins his elbows. We're going to pick him back up, and he's going to try again. That's the mindset that you've got to adopt in your life. When you're stuck and you can't seem to get free, you've got to adopt the mindset of, I'm going to change no matter how long it takes. I'm going to get through this no matter how much effort it requires from me. Things are going to be different. Even if I fall down, even if I make mistakes, even if I scratch my elbow and bump my head, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to change. This is a mindset that you've got to adopt in your life when you're sick of being where you're at. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired, as the way we used to say it growing up. You've made up your mind, I'm going to change. Now, I found myself in this place in my life, and I decided I was sick of it. Things had to change. I couldn't keep going the way I was. I had to get unstuck. I was at that point in my life, and I began to pray, and I began to spend some time with God and just my thoughts and trying to figure out what was the next step. What was the next thing for me to get free? What should I do? And I remember that moment. I'll never forget it. When I felt like God spoke to me. And I'm telling you, I was expecting some big spiritual answer, like, hey, I need to, read more of my Bible, or I needed to, spend a lot more time in prayer. Maybe I needed to fast, or, do something big, something spiritual, something, that would please God or whatever. And that's not what happened. Here's what I felt God spoke to me. He said, go get a gym membership and start working out 3 days a week. Now, I'm telling you, I had never been in a gym before a single time in my life. No one I knew worked out. It just wasn't a thing that I grew up with. It was completely new. And I was shocked. I was like, there's just no way. That's crazy. That doesn't even relate to what I'm going through. It doesn't even relate to my life. Like, I got big problems. I got financial problems. I got self-confidence problems. I've got relationship problems. I've got spiritual problems. I've just got all these doubts. I'm going through so much workout, but it was. And I walked in that gym, just a small local gym, a small town. For the first time, I knew nothing. Like, I couldn't even really do one good push-up. I walked in there and I began to talk to the manager, and he began to walk me through the gym, and he would show me what each machine did. I had no idea what I was doing. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I hired a personal trainer, just somebody to work with me 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And really what it was, yes, I needed him to show me what to do, but the main thing was an accountability partner. I knew if I was going to stick to it, I needed somebody to hold me accountable, keep my feet to the fire, and make sure I followed through with my commitment. I really believe that was the key to my success, because I don't think I'd have stuck with it. And looking back at my track record at that moment, I never really stuck with anything. I never really followed through with any of the commitments I made. And so that one thing, it totally changed my life. Because here's the reason why, all right? When you have been stuck for a long time, and maybe if you've tried multiple times to get free and you never have, you've been in the same rut, you develop a mindset, almost like a vibe or an energy about you that you're not going to ever get free. It's like this internal belief that you're not good enough, that you're not going to be able to be different, that you're not going to be able to follow through with anything, that you're never going to get free. It's that fixed mindset, and it's just something that's in you, and it's a feeling that you can't ever break free from it. That's the way it feels internally. And so when you actually decide to change, and then when you go and you develop that one discipline, that's step 2, develop a discipline. When you do that, it will begin to change that mindset, that internal belief. And listen, it doesn't have to be a gym membership. It might just be getting up and doing push-ups in the morning. It might just be going for a run after work. It might be just, setting your alarm a little earlier. It might just be, hey, I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to listen to a good podcast a couple of times a week. I don't know. You just find it. Just find something. But I'm telling you, it's very, very powerful. And whatever you do, make sure it's something that's easily done, something that you can do. And you've got to make sure that you stick with it. You've got to make sure that you follow through, because the key to breaking that mentality, the key to building your self-confidence, is to do small tasks, to complete small things, to set goals and to complete those goals. And what happens, I'm telling you, probably 3 months in of me working out 3 times a week, I begin to be like, man, I'm feeling a little better. I feel a little stronger, but man, why don't I start eating a little better? Because I'm putting all this hard work in, I might as well. So then I started cleaning up my diet, started getting rid of some junk food. You know what happened? Now I'm 6 months down the road and I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I'm feeling stronger. I'm looking better in the mirror. I'm having more confidence. And then it led to me saying, hey, maybe I need to improve in this area. Maybe I need to stretch myself again. And so I began to listen to better podcasts. I began to read better books. I began to follow people that began to elevate my mentality and my skill set and my knowledge. And what happened is, little by little, all because of that one discipline that I put in my life and I stuck to, I began to stack bigger and better and more habits. And now, a year later, but I'm telling you, at that 2-3 year mark, when I looked back, I couldn't even recognize that person. I was so different. I was different spiritually. I was different mentally. I was different emotionally. I looked different physically. My finances was different. My marriage was different. My relationship with God was different. Everything was in my life was different. And I pointed all back to deciding to change and to developing that one discipline, that one little small thing, and I stuck with it, and it began to grow. I'm telling you, it'll work. You've got to change that mindset of insignificance, that mindset that I'm always going to be this way. And you do that by first starting with just one small discipline. Now, there's one more thing that you need to know. In this time of my life, I was on the bottom. And here's the reason why. Because it seemed that all the dreams that I'd had, all the goals, the visions, the ambitions, the things that I was trying to accomplish, the things I was pointing at, trying to attain in my life, all those things had failed. Every time I got a new idea, I was stuck. Because I was stuck, I couldn't accomplish it. I couldn't go follow through with it. And so eventually I just quit dreaming. I quit having goals for my life. I just felt empty. It was like I was going through life like a zombie or a robot or something. And I'm telling you, it was the lowest point of my life. The scripture tells us that that's what happens. The Bible tells in Proverbs that without a vision, you can interpret that to be a dream or a goal, that the people perish. That means they die. That means that a dream, a vision, a goal for your life is life-giving. You know, I believe that dreams and goals are a preview of, it's like a picture of God. God is showing us what's possible for our future. When God begins to give you dreams and God begins to give you goals in your life and you begin to have things that you're trying to accomplish, it brings life. It brings focus. It begins to bring a sense of meaning, of purpose into your life. And as I look back, the only thing that got me out of that point is I got another dream. I got another vision. And it started small. It wasn't big stuff, but I began to set goals. I was like, hey, in 30 days, I would like to be able to, lift this much weight on the bench press. Maybe I'd like to do 5 push-ups. I began to set goals for myself. And that caused me to work a little harder in the gym. It caused me to eat a little cleaner. And then as I accomplished that goal, I set another goal. And then I began to set other smaller goals in my life. And then my goals got bigger and my dreams got bigger. You know why? Because I was breaking that mindset of being stuck, that mindset of not feeling like I was enough. And I began to break it because I was accomplishing goals. And so my goals began to get bigger. My dreams began to get bigger. And that was the formula that began to change my life. So listen to me. It doesn't have to be big goals. It might just be, a certain weight in the gym that you want to lift or whatever. It might be getting your grade up in that class. It might be getting that raise. Or it might be, accomplishing some project that you're starting. It might be just, having a better marriage or a better relationship with your parents or just whatever. It doesn't have to be something just massive in life, changing, huge thing that's hard to accomplish. It's going to take you 5 years and 10,000 hours of work or whatever. Just set yourself some small goals. Something that you can put your mind on, that you can focus on and put your energy into to accomplish. Because when you do that, and then you go to the next thing, and then the next thing, you're going to begin to build momentum in your life, and you're going to get free from where you're at. But here's one more tip. When you do set a goal, and you accomplish it, celebrate it. Have a party. Go get a steak dinner. I don't know. buy yourself, a new ball cap or a pair of shoes or something. No, it don't have to be big, something in the budget, but celebrate that win. Just let yourself know that you're proud of yourself for accomplishing that goal. If it's a goal that's maybe with your spouse or, with a friend group or something, celebrate it together. Say, hey man, I accomplished that thing I set out for. I want to celebrate that. I want to, let's do something. And then you come back and you set the next goal and you begin to work towards that. All right, there it is. The 3-step formula of what to do when you're stuck. All right, you decide to change. You develop a discipline. And then step 3, you discover a new dream, a new purpose, a new goal for your life. All right, I believe in you. Friend, I believe that you can win. And I want to see you do it.